I changed the... I did. Everything has changed. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Hello, David. Hello. Hello. Hi, Stan. Hello, Fire Bullseye. Hi, Luna. Oh, Nikito, you're here. Hello. Happy you decided to join. I really hope that you're feeling okay and you don't need to be sleeping. Hello, Harsh. Hello, Eve. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna go. What's wrong with my hair? It was just... That is 10 Oh, wait, what did I put? Hold up. I think I ended up... I meant till 77. Dario, hello. Welcome. Thank you for not putting anything weird or disturbing or, you know, very, very questionable. Hope you're doing good as well. Bro, I haven't watched Night of the Seven Kingdoms yet. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow because I have to wait for my friend to get, and she gets there tomorrow to watch it. So that's when I will be watching it, which will be chill. And I don't know, my hair, it started snowing outside, so it was like chill, and now it's just, this is just my natural hair. I have very naturally like wavy, some parts curly, some parts there, you know? Or I'm wearing a wig and I've actually been balding. Other than that, that's all I got. So we're gonna start reading. I think I put till 67. I meant to put till 876, but I am dyslexic and I got them confused. I'm not gonna do any theories. I literally, like, this is the most I'm gonna talk. Fucking kill me. This is the most I'm gonna talk. The rest of this I'm just gonna sit here and read. So let me know if I need to change the music at any point. Chapter 866, Home. Upon hearing Miss Joseph's greeting, the fool Klein suddenly had a strong, wistful feeling. After knowing her identity, status, looks, and situations, he had a deeper understanding as to why Audrey's tone had a happy and rational, radiant air. He understood where they essentially came from, but he didn't end up envious or jealous because of that. Nor did he believe that she lacked... I'm also covering up the chat so I don't get distracted, so you guys are free to talk. But if you need me, spam it so I can see it out of the corner of my eye. And sadness, madness underlying it. Having such a lady exist was really nice. I do remember the chapters from Sunday. Or from Saturday. It was really nice. A smile surfaced on her face as she gently nodded as she acknowledged of Miss Justice's greeting. After the Tarot Club members exchanged greetings, Katlia nudged her glasses and turned her body sideways. She bowed in the direction of the blurry figure that was enveloped by the gray fog at the end of the long bronze table. My Honorable Mr. Fool, there are 3 diary pages this time. Queen Mystic has finally come online again. Klein lampooned as he said with a smile, very good. A few seconds later, Katlia conjured the diary pages after receiving approval for seeing them leap into Mr. Fool's hands. He realized that the diary approved by Miss Queen Mystic depicted Emperor Rozel's early days. It didn't seem to contain anything important. Logically speaking, when being unable to distinguish the importance of entries, one will definitely prioritize the later date diary entries. This would best restore the mystery as to why Emperor Rozel was agitated. I believe Queen Mystic is sufficiently clever. As Klein wondered to himself inwardly, he began seriously questioning the first page, 21st of September. Arrival at St. Millom. I've officially begun my I've officially begun my first state visit. Faysac's weather is really little cold. It's not even October, and it looks like there is about to snow. It's no wonder it's famous for its various coats and winter wear, as well as its liquor. Fuck, the people here are ridiculously tall, as expected of a country that depicts some giants. However, I have to say that I hate it when people look down on me. Tonight I will be going to the bar to find a Faysac beauty to share some drinks. Upon reading this, Klein suddenly suspected if Queen Mystic's beyond her questions, what if she had a brother of Faysac descent? Holding back his tisking inwardly, Klein swept his gaze to the second diary entry, 22nd of September. I think I blacked out. What happened last night? What happened to my Faysac beauty? I actually lost her out drinking. The embassy told me that the women here are often better at drinking than men. I should show some temperance when I head to the bars in the future. I sure don't want some ugly middle-aged woman to do unspeakable things to me when I black out. The alcohol here sure is strong. My headache has lasted an entire day. Thankfully, my stomach doesn't hurt. I should try and sleep early. I'll be visiting the Great Twilight Hall tomorrow. 23rd of September. The Great Twilight Hall is indeed grand. It's like a mythical materializing into reality. That building seems to be completely prepared for giants. Since I don't share their faith, I could only circle the perimeter. The square at the bottom of the Great Twilight Hall is also filled with fragrances of alcohol. There is plenty of people there, some kneeling, some stirring, others playing musical instruments. They exude a rather relaxed and open feeling. I got to know the Phaeacian who blows the bone flute compared to his kingsman. He's ridiculously tall. He's roughly 3 meters tall. His name is Honiger, and he claims to have been from the clans of Faysac that have the purest giant bloodline. That way, he plans the bone flute looks very sorrowful, as though he doesn't belong here, but he also has no idea where to go to. Compared to the skirt cleansers in Intis, he is a lot more like a poet. Now that I mention it, I really can't help but give some criticism. Those guys seem to wear any sexual disease as a badge of honor, as just messes up their entire social market. I had a chat with Honiger for a while and raised my question from before. He said that he's only homesick, but the problem lies in the fact that he's a true blue native from St. Milliam. He has never left this place before. Honiger didn't immediately reply to me as he replied to the bone flute for the first few minutes. I later told me that the mission, the origins, and the great giant bloodline, the giant king's court mentioned in myths. Bye, Nikito. Go to sleep, feel better. He told me that he and his clan of Phaeacians often dreamed of a tall mountain where they used to giant city walls and palace forever bathed in twilight glow. The tall towers and other kinds of buildings, it resembled the Great Twilight Hall, but it's even more fascinating, epic, and miraculous. Without anyone needing to tell them, Honiger and his clansmen believed that the Giant King's Court, towards the end of the conversation, Honiger slowly stood up and thanked me for listening. He was going to leave Faysac and sneak out of the Giant King's Court to find this home of his soul. He believed that the zone of the easternmost front of the Sodi Sea, there might be a path that leads to the Giant King's Court. He said that the millennium had passed and the Giant Kings have never forgotten their home, but it's now turned to follow in footsteps of its ancestors. The path would never stop until the destination is reached. He played the bone flute again and gradually left amidst the ethereal and sorrowful tune. Home. Upon reading this, Klein felt for the first time, and his feelings resonated with the Emperor. Although Roselle wrote the word that seemed to repeat without describing his feelings, Klein could understand the underlying feelings within the Emperor. This was because he was Roselle, like He and Roselle were like Conager. Had no home. They had a home they belonged to spiritually, inwardly. Klein flipped to the second page. 10th of January, visited Sonia Island. This place is also called Ancient Elf Island. It has plenty of elvish ruins and customs left over. I was surprised on the first day the elves actually made blood cake, and they enjoy eating animal organs and are good at using spices. They even invented chopsticks. Thinking about the elvish depictions in the murals, apart from the blue hair and the facial contours and eyes that are similar to Asians or on Earth, could they be my fellow countrymen? Yes, back then I had suspicions as well. However, it's impossible for so many to transmigrate at once. Since it's almost an entire race, I felt that I was overthinking matters, but it doesn't make sense that the customs and cutlery have appeared on Earth won't appear here. Klein, thought and interested, quickly continued reading. He wanted to know if Roselle had gotten to the bottom of it. 13th of January, I've been so busy searching for writings, relics, and folktales that I forgot to write my diary for a few days. Although many objects have been taken away by the various churches, I still obtained something of value. Various legends have it that Elf King Sirithim created chopsticks. There are records of him using animal organs and blood to cook delicacies. There are stories of the ancient gods being good at identifying and using spices. It's acknowledged that he is their founding ancestor and the first elf due to certain reasons. He led the race and left for the western continent with only existed legend, bringing them to the northern continent. Could it be that this fellow countryman of mine, a transmigrator, he later produced an entire race? There's nothing ancient gods can't do, including having children. He apparently had a wife who was also an elf. I'll need to think this through. 16th of January, after further investigations, elves might really have nothing to do with the transmigrators. At very least, they didn't leave behind any Chinese, English, or other symbols. They've likely been using Elvish all this time. Nothing of it gives me a sense of familiarity. Furthermore, the invitation I have in common didn't appear before I came. Likewise, the famous quote, there are only proverbs and idioms and similar meanings and complete different choices of words. From all the items and legends I have now, none of them support my theory. This is a little disappointing, but it also makes sense. I'm relieved. If I were to encourage another transmigrator or another transmigrators, I really would have no idea how to face them. 16th of January, dreamt of the home I'd nearly forgotten. Indeed, the Emperor more or less gave up on the theory. Klein flipped to the next page and saw the final diary entry. 2nd of April, my daughter is smart. She can speak before the age of 1. Although she had learned a few words, I can't believe the subsequent development can't be slow. She must have inherited this from me. No matter how I look, she looks like... Nope, stop. Nope, shut up. Shut up. Shut up, Mom. No matter how I look, she looks a little like how I looked on Earth. Could it be that the soul will bring about some level of inheritance? I'll just treat it as so. Bernadette, the name is quite good. It sounds beautiful, but deep in my heart, I keep having the urge to give her a Chinese nickname. She won't get it to see her grandmother or grandfather. On the 3rd of April, I suffered from insomnia last night because of the wishful thoughts I suddenly had yesterday. Thankfully, I know cognition. However, this also made me consider a problem that whether I should secretly teach Bernadette Chinese. No, I can't. She would understand the diary entries her father had previously written. I'd rather kill myself in my daughter's head. Her father is filled with honor. However, using Chinese to write my diary is a final letter to Earth in my past. My daughter should inherit this tether to a certain extent. On the 6th of April, after her first days of consideration, I've decided to teach Bernadette 2 Chinese characters as though they're a special symbol. I'll tell her that this is a protective incantation that her father is giving her, and that she is to remember it forever. She doesn't need to know the corresponding meaning. All she needs to do is remember the word in Chinese is home. Aww. Home. Klein repeated this word again, and she felt his eyes redden a little. He finally understood why Queen Mystic had chosen these 3 diary pages. This is because it was the protective symbol her father had left her. Oh, that's really cute. At this moment, Klein seemed to see a river of emotions. Its surface was flowing silently, but there was infinite eddies flowing underneath, churning without end. Klein attracted his gaze and made the diary pages disappear. Looking up at Catley, he said, "What's your question?" That's really, really cute. Oh my god, what am I doing? No, that's like really cute. They're on me like a little teary-eyed. Like only a little though. When looking at Kalia, hold up, I still haven't cried this volume. I just realized, pause break, still have not cried this volume. So, and we have about a little, I'm like about 65% of the way done. So, I'm expecting it at any point here. I'm waiting for it. I'm seeing how it's gonna go. When looking at Kalia, Klein had actually guessed what her request would be as she signed to have felt confident. How did Mr. Fool know that I'll be asking a question and not making a request? As expected, Mr. Fool, Kalia thought, before politely asking, Honorable Mr. Fool, I would like to know the meaning of those two symbols. After receiving permission, he conjured the Chinese characters, and they were Gu and Zhang. I'm probably butchering those, I'm so sorry. Gu and Zhang. As expected, Klein sighed silently. He combined together, they meant home, the homeland for one soul. When combined together, the homeland for one soul, Kalia placed the emphasis on the second sentence because she knew very well that the home for Queen Mystic, nor did she believe that there was anything special. Audrey and the other Tarot Club members took the opportunity to learn the new Roselle text and tried hard to memorize the symbols of their combined meaning, except Derek. Klein didn't speak further as he leaned back into the chair. You may begin. Alger immediately turned his head and looked at the world. Your mystical item is ready. I'll give it to you this week. He was referring to the mystical item made from the ocean songster's beyond her characteristic. The artisan had rushed to finish Miss Justice's glove. As for the world's request, it had been delayed until next week. With Mr. Azek not replying yet, and with me unable to restore the seal on creeping hunger, the mystical item's arrival is timely. Klein controlled the world to make him nod. That's still an acceptable speed. An acceptable speed. If I had delayed it for another 3 weeks, or even a year, would you be teleporting to me? Alger thought as he baffled a sense of weariness. As his original plan was to obtain the cataclysmic terror potion from the church, and with him just beginning to digest the ocean songster potion, he wasn't looking to purchase any corresponding Beyonder characteristics. He felt silent for again and began watching the other members begin their transactions. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm actually going to change it to this one, because this one is pissing me off. And my ad blocker is gone, which, not awesome, but we do with what we can. And that's just the life that I live. And that's okay. Under normal circumstances, Sequence 5 Beyonder would have 2 or 3 mystical items whose negative effects didn't overlap, making them the best combination. Of course, Alger had already reserved one. Once the artisan finished the world's item, it would be a 6-wing gargoyle core crystal. For that, he needed to pay £1,000. Together with the fee, he needed to pay the world a little amount of money he had reduced by £2,000, leaving him with £1,800. Out of that, £500 was commission he had earned from Miss Justice's glove. With no one speaking, Emlyn looked at the sun and asked for some deliberation. I need to sequence 5 artifact vampires beyond a characteristic. What do you wish to get in exchange? In recent times, he had learned that the Sanguine had the means to eliminate the mental corruption from a beyond a characteristic, but he needed to make sufficient contributions to make an application. Therefore, Emlyn wished to first obtain the main ingredient needed to advancement before considering the other problems. Based on his observations, such a Sequence 5 artificial vampire beyond a characteristic roughly cost £8,000. Based on Mr. World's pricing, as for himself, he had only £5,400 and was still a little short. Based on Emlyn's original thoughts and habits, he needed to save up £8,000 before requesting a trade with the Sun. He wasn't a sanguine who liked to buy things on credit, even though the newest or best dolls, nor could he thicken his skin to borrow from others. All he could do was be more frugal, work harder, and save up more. However, he quickly realized something. The Sun didn't accept cash. To its residents in the city of Silver, loan cash was no different from scrap paper. Therefore, Emlyn believed that the Sun would make a request for an item that was better to learn of it to prepare it ahead of time. Furthermore, the Sun doesn't understand the market price. Perhaps the thing he wants only costs £5,000. In the hopes of being pleasantly surprised, Emlyn lifted his chin slightly and looked at the Sun beside him. Derek thought seriously and said, Sun Pathway Sequence 5 potion formula? He originally wished to request him to repay his debt in Mr. World, but he realized that Mr. World hadn't raised any requests at all. Hence, he didn't find it appropriate to relegate it to someone else. In addition, having participated in so many tarot gatherings, Derek was no longer a newcomer who knew nothing. With the City of Silver having an exchange standard, he knew the difference between a Sequence 6 notary potion formula and a Sequence 5 beyond a characteristic very well. Using the former to cover the debt of the latter would be a terrible idea. Therefore, he changed his request to a Sequence 5 potion formula. Sequence 5 potion formula is very effective and difficult to purchase. It will cost between £4,500 and £7,000. I will mainly depend on how urgent both parties are. Also, there's a cost to verifying the authenticity, too. Emlyn was just about to answer when he heard Mr. World's hoarse voice say, I have it. Instantly, the palace, that looked like a giant's residence, fell silent. All the Tarot Club members appeared a little wooden. As Sequence 5 that common, Emlyn fell down as he realized that he still wasn't at Sequence 5 yet. After calming down, he asked, how much will it cost? Considering Emlyn White's financial situation, Clyde made the world chortle deeply. £5,000. Freeze the light potion formula. £5,000. Emlyn was first taken aback before he said without hesitation, deal. It was like he was facing a discount for a doll he had been longing for. All right, the world nodded, as though he was in a major transaction. Then he saw Miss Justice look around and hear her say, I'd like to commission an investigation mission. Investigation mission? The fool Klein's heart skipped a beat as the world's expression turned somewhat sluggish. What is it? Forrest asked proactively. Her impression of Miss Justice's commission was that there was relatively simple while playing handsomely. She definitely needed to take it. Audrey organized her words and said, there have been 2 matters that happened in Backlund recently. One is Baron Sandris. He was a suspect to have been framed. The other is a member of Parliament match being assaulted because of environmental measures. Forrest found Miss Justice's description especially familiar because she had been present in the 2 matters. She had witnessed them and was involved in them. I do. She had knowingly straightened her back, waiting for Miss Justice to continue. And in these 2 matters, there's a tycoon named Dwayne Dantes involved. He came to Backlund 2 months ago, and he donated more than £10,000 to the shares of the Church Evernight in an attempt to establish a bursary foundation that targets the poor. Audrey described using the tone as though she had never directly interacted with him, and he had simply suspected something about him. From that day, and rumors she had received, I wish to hire someone to investigate the actual situation with the gentleman. I know this all too well. He's rather rich and he looks pretty good. He handles matters with experience in a mature manner. He's someone with kidney or bladder problems. Forrest nearly raised her hand and shouted altogether thoughts. If Miss Justice wasn't pleased with that, she had every more information, such as Dwayne Dantes was in a rather pitiful state. His butlers studied black magic, his servants worshipped death, and one of his neighbors was a beyonder. There was a secret to a secret, and that he had donated the shares to extract himself from trouble. In short, he would perfectly fit the image of a foreigner who was being bullied. I nearly recommended him a medicine that treated kidneys and bladder problems. After all, Mr. Moon is skilled in such matters. I can still earn a commission through this. Yes, there's no rush. Let's hear what Miss Justice has to offer. Forrest curled her heart, and which was awash with excitement, she patiently looked at the girl beside her. However, her body language and emotional upheavals had betrayed her in front of the spectator. Audrey was rather surprised and puzzled by this. She never expected Forrest to know Dwayne Dantes and seemed to know quite a lot about him. This made her have a new guess as to why Dwayne Dantes was shocked when he saw her. She suspected that Forrest had once said or shown something to the man. Meanwhile, Emlyn was a blank. He knew nothing about what Miss Justice had mentioned. All he could do was confirm that happened in Backland. As for the fool Klein, who was leaning back in his chair, leisurely looking at the members, he nearly twitched the corners of his mouth. Miss Justice commissioning all of or others to investigate Dwayne Dantes had exceeded his expectations. This was because they had only met once at the charity party and didn't seem to have any deeper interaction, so there was no need for further investigations. Could it be that I exposed something about myself that guaranteed Miss Justice's interest? Or could it be that by donating £10,000, it shows how much importance Earl Hall places on this. Hence, Miss Justice decided to secretly carry out an investigation because she's worried for her father. Klein's mind raced as he hurriedly thought of a solution. At this moment, Audrey deliberated for a moment and looked at Miss Justice and said, "An internal investigation. For £500. If you encounter danger causing the difficulty to rise, I'll compensate you with more." "No problem." Forrest hurriedly organized her words inwardly. Just as she was about to say something, she saw the world Garamond Sparrow raise his hand. He raised his hand. Dude, it's like really bad, like, what the fuck? No! I'll actually throw myself out of the window. There we go. It's going back up. It's fine. It's fine. Shared identity. Forbes was taken aback, suspecting that she had seen wrong. Following that, she couldn't help but thoughts surfaced in her mind. Mr. World wished to take the mission. That's right, he's in Backland. But this is an investigation, not a murder. Dwayne Dantes is already pitiful enough. Leave Dwayne alone. Eliminating the investigation target implies completing the investigation, because there will be no need to make another investigation. What do I do? I'll take the mission. It's a full £500. I just need to recount what I previously discovered. To receive £200, but the competitors, Mr. World, perhaps we can cooperate and not compete. Why would Mr. World be interested in the mission? His focus is actually on the framing of Baron Sanders or the assaulted member parliament match. Forrest finally grasped the problem at its core. As for Alger and Catlia, they had already cast their gaze to the world. To them, it had been framing of Baron Sanders, the assaulted member of Parliament match, or Dwayne Dantes' donation of more than £10,000. There weren't something that needed special notice. However, to have Mr. Fool's Bless choose to accept the investigation mission meant that there was a problem was bound to be extremely complicated. It made them feel that there was an important secret underlying the matter. Emlyn didn't think too much about it, but he had also sensed that his seemingly ordinary investigation mission wasn't that simple. His plan on earning some pocket money to make up for the £5,000 that he had just lost were overturned as he suddenly didn't want to say a word. Dwayne Dantes is really something. There must be a big problem with him that makes Mr. World choose to investigate him. Or these two cases more important than and more critical than I imagined. Audrey's mind stirred as she turned her eyes. She used the advantage of her seating position to take in all the reactions of the Tarot Club members. Among them, Derek was the only exception. To him, wasn't it normal for the Tarot Club to help each other? Oh, I love Derek. I love Derek so much. To him, wasn't the Tarot Club to help each other? If someone gave a message mission and one was capable of completing it, wasn't it normal to take it? Audrey moved her gaze to the world and asked with hidden anticipation, "Mr. World, you wish to receive the mission?" After returning to Backland, she had gathered up the news at OC over the past few months, roughly confirming that Mr. World was the crazy adventurer Garamond Sparrow. While she was deeply impressed by the seemingly polite but dangerous gentleman who had accomplished many great deeds, she felt that her feeling to adventure out at sea had waned. Klein had already thought of a response. He had controlled the world to lower his head and wait for Miss Justice to ask. At that moment, she made Garamond Sparrow's expression turn solemn and replied with a deep voice, "Dwayne Dantes is an identity." Is he gonna tell them? Is he gonna tell them? After a period of brief but repeated considerations, Klein decided to expose some information. He made Dwayne Dantes be one of his public facades as a blessed. He believed if he chose to conceal the matter, there was a chance of being exposed in the future. in the future. Oh my god. This is because Dwayne Dantes was about to enter Backland's high society. He could find clues about the Great Smug of Backland or the cases. This way, we might very well need Miss Justice to provide him with assistance. When that happens, the spectator would probably sense something and discover that the world is previously hiding something and Mr. Fool had never mentioned it. This would lower her sense of belonging and make her even begin suspecting more of the matters, causing her faith in the Fool to borderline dangerous. With two members not knowing each other, or knowing of the other's existence, to tactically work together to complete a specific mission together to accomplish a complete goal sounded perfect, but in reality its success was very difficult, even more so. There was no way he could fool her. Therefore, most of the time, honesty was more effective and less worrisome than lying. As for why he didn't directly say that Dwayne Dantes was Garamond Sparrow, it was because Klein didn't wish to leave the Tarot Club members the impression as to why it was the same person again. He didn't want them to have an impression that he was the only blessed of Mr. Fool that appeared. Dwayne Dantes is only an identity. Audrey sharply read between the lines and had a theory. Then she heard the world simply say, a common identity that me and my companions share. I will occasionally disguise myself as him. Upon saying that, her emotionless swept his gaze across the magician. A common identity occasionally disguises him. The very pitiful Dwayne Dantes is Mr. World. The tycoon with kidney or bladder problems is Mr. Garamond Sparrow. Forrest felt as though she was struck by lightning as she froze up. Her brain turned numb as she felt struck with fear, subconsciously feeling that she unintentionally comments made a lot of sense. When the butler, valet, neighbor, and surroundings had problems, the person that seemed ordinary definitely wouldn't be ordinary. No, it's not the street where Dwayne Dantes stays at, or that he happened to hire a butler with a secret. It's because of that secret that he was selected by Dwayne Dantes, selected by Garamond Sparrow. The pitiful one isn't Dwayne Dantes, but the Beyonders and the Beyonder item around him. I was wrong. I shouldn't have gotten Shio to ask the goddess to bless him. It's more of a curse for Mr. World. Forrest suddenly trembled, thankful that she had left the comment in her notes that Dwayne Dantes should check on his kidney or bladder. Otherwise, she suspected that she wouldn't be able to participate in the next tarot gathering, or perhaps she would appear in a form of beyond a characteristic sold by the other members of the world. Logically speaking, Mr. World shouldn't have known that I'm the magician, but I was carrying Leimano's travels with me. He had used the spellbook before and had added demigod-level beyonder powers to it. He had definitely observed me in secret, remembering my appearance and evaluating my value. The fear in Forrest was surging like a tremendous tumultuous sea as her expression was filled with misery. At this moment, she saw Mr. World sweep a cold glance at her, his feelings of regret instantly becoming that of extreme regret. Thankfully, I didn't rush to the answer and mention my impression of Dwayne Dantes. When Forrest gradually calmed down in her horror, she couldn't help but think of another problem. During the Beyonder missions, were we the ones protecting Dwayne Dantes, or was Dwayne Dantes protecting us? Should I refund Mr. Garamond Sparrow his money? This, at times, Dwayne Dantes is equivalent to Mr. World. Audrey was first stunned before finding all her questions answered. Forrest didn't know Dwayne Dantes, but she didn't know that he's Mr. World. It can be proven from her shocked reaction just now. The reason that Dwayne Dantes was shocked when he saw me was because he recognized a lie. Although this mystical item has changed, it comes from a beyond characteristic that Mr. World provided. Perhaps a crazy venturer can sense it somehow. After all, Garamond Sparrow can transform into anyone with the powers of shape-shifting. Although I only asked Mr. Hangman what will happen when the animal consumes a potion. A potion ingredient I gathered later. We're always in pairs. Mr. World might very well have guessed that I have a spectator beside me based on that. Hence he became wary against Susie, who was secretly observing everyone in the hall. Others might not dealt an animal, but Mr. World is experienced. I must have interacted with Beyonder creatures, so it's very normal for him to be wary against such things. Which is to say, Dwayne Dantes, no, Mr. World, Garamond Sparrow knew that I was Justice, but he didn't choose to make eye contact or communicate with me. There's nothing wrong with this choice of actions. Under those circumstances, unless he directly says it, it will be difficult for me to guess or believe it. Furthermore, talking about the Tarot Club in St. Simon Cathedral is is just too crazy. After a brief moment of surprise, Audrey's emotions calmed down, leaving her only with excitement. Apart from the magician Forrest, who she introduced, this was her first time in another meeting of a tarot club. Feels like a historic moment. Yes, Mr. World as well as Mr. Fool's other blessed, and they should also be considered the world, but why was the true identity of Dwayne Dantes made? Why are they up to? Or what are they up to? The matter of Baron Sanders being framed, Member of Parliament Match being assaulted, and their donation to the establish a bursary foundation really is more complicated and important than I thought originally imagined. Why do I feel like the kingdom's upper echelons are beginning to stir in a state of unrest? I had a feeling back when the Prince Edisac died during the Great Smog of Backlund. Today it's even more intense. Now that I know the identity of Dwayne Dantes, I might be able to participate and cooperate indirectly, reducing the risk of my parents might suffer, reducing the risk of the innocent. Amidst her thoughts, Audrey quickly came up her mind. She would accept her father's choice to join the Lowen Charity Bursary Foundation. And then she inwardly quipped, wouldn't it be very logical to have Justice from the Tarot Club join the charity foundation established by Mr. World from the Tarot Club? Alger and Catlia weren't too surprised that Dwayne Dantes was the World, that he was an amalgamation of Mr. Fool's Bless. In their minds, another thought flashed through their minds. Something major is about to happen in Backlund. I have that feeling too. Very curious to see what goes down. Very curious to see what they do. How many chapters is it? It's what, on 941 or something like that? Is that how many there is? I don't remember. No, honestly, because here's the thing. 946. And I'm on 900. I'm on 800. So how many? Hold up. Don't judge me. I just don't want to do it right now. What am I on? So I have 77 chapters to go. So if I minus 6 more, so I have 71, and then I have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 4 days. Okay, I might not be finishing on Saturday because I would have to read 17 chapters a day. So maybe finish on Monday. You know? Maybe I'll just read 17 chapters a day. Is something brewing in Backlund again? An extension of the Great Smog of Backlund, as Alger and Catlia wondered about the framing of Baron Sanders and the assault on Member of Parliament Match. We'll see. Hi, fruit. I feel like Monday's a little bit better. Monday's probably not any better, so probably finish it next week. Yeah, probably like next Wednesday or something. Thinking through all of them. Unless I have to do like another like 18, 20 chapters together to finish off. Do you guys know? Like, am I gonna have to do like another 4 or 5 hour stream to finish volume 4? And like just get them all done? Is something brewing in Backlund again? An extension of the Great Smog of Backlund, as Alger and Catlia wondered about the framing of Baron Sanders and the assault on Member of Parliament Match. Oh my god. Oh my god, my nose. They planned on using their own respective channels to obtain more detailed information, see if they could discover anything abnormal. They weren't in a rush. They had no intention to directly... Yeah, I assume somebody will tell me the numbers that I gotta do. Oh, right, David, you weren't here when I read about Foggy Town. That was a cool amount of chapters. It was really good. It was really fun. They weren't in a rush. They had no intention to directly ask the world that his motives or exact plans were. They felt that they would only answer in detail. At best, he would just make a comment. Therefore, he planned to gather more information, first to do some preliminary investigations. They would then decide their subsequent course of action, depending on the exact situation. At the same time, they suddenly realized that the public announcement of the identity of Dwayne Dantes seemed to boon for them as long as they paid attention to the news of the tycoon. They could roughly grasp the actions of Mr. Fool's Blessed, and from there they could provide tactic cooperation or help. And since there was just a fake identity, it could be disposed of the moment any problem was exposed. Similarly, they could be a witness for his identity, making Dwayne Dantes appear more realistic. The simplest example was that in the Tycoon had a background at sea. Cat Leah could provide her crew, friends, and partners the relative information, making them believe that such a man existed. By the time the official organization attempted to investigate Dwayne Dantes' origins, they would discover that he didn't exist and those matters didn't happen. After a brief silence, Audrey was just about to answer Mr. World's questions when she saw Mr. Moon sit up straight. The look at the end of the long bronze table, taking the initiative to ask, what's his public identity used for? Are there deeper Hi, Pushkar. Are there deeper problems present in the cases mentioned by Miss Justice? As a citizen of Backland, Emlyn was so concerned about his living environment. Why don't you investigate all these questions yourself? Do not be swept into the vortex. I've already exposed myself, Klein lampooned Emlyn, and made the world give a deep chuckle. Of course, it's awaiting further investigation. His succinct answer could be translated in detail too. The two cases definitely have deeper problems, but that's a secret I don't plan on telling you. Likewise, don't ask me about the purpose of the identity of Dwayne Dantes. Although Emlyn was quite bad at reading people, he could still understand what the world was getting at. He chuckled dryly and leaned back, pretending as though he was very pleased with the answer. When Audrey saw this, she used the second to stop the corners of her mouth from curling up. Then she said to the world, all right, I understand. Thank you for the information. At the moment, she had further convinced that joining the Lowen Charity Bursary Foundation was a good thing for her. In the future, if she was to face any danger or had any matters she couldn't handle herself, she could inform Mr. World ahead of time. Then she could head to the foundation as per normal, busying herself in the office adjacent to Dwayne Dantes. If the psychology alchemists have their suspicions about me, or if they use a mission to test me, I'll get them to meet me in the foundation. Dwayne Dantes' is completely different from the way he acts in the world above the great fog. Yes, Mr. World is an experienced actor. Also, Dwayne Dantes is a public identity. He won't always be synonymous to Gammon Sparrow. It's no wonder there are rumors of him liking a wide range of women. A crazy murderer and adventurer like Gammon Sparrow definitely is a good match with a pure and innocent girl. As a spectator, Audrey couldn't help but imagine that. As for Klein, he couldn't help but lampoon when he heard her reply. What do you mean? Thank you for the information. Shouldn't you be paying £500 for the investigation fee? I see absolutely no vision. There's literally not a world in which that makes sense. Audrey has a vision, and you know what? Here's the thing. Audrey has a vision, and she's seeing it, and she's like, this is gonna... I give her props. Props to the girlie for just, manifesting, having that, putting it out there. Don't think it's ever gonna happen. But, worst that could happen is no. Throw your hat in the ring, girl. Are you treating it as something shared among members? Nah. Are you treating it as something shared among members? He made the world nod without further mentioning the matter of Dwayne Dantes. He then turned to the little son. Do you have Bizarro Bane over there? The world paused and added, I used to think Audrey and Derek would be like a cute little pairing, maybe like down the lines. They'd be like a cute little pairing. They're both like very sweet and very cheerful, and I was like, this would be nice. But then I was like, they're both blonde, and like I feel like when two blonde people date, it's just weird, like it's giving incest. I don't like. I said when Derek was older, when Derek's like down the line, Oh my god. Okay, I'll leave it. That's all I was gonna say. I meant when Derek was like 18, 19, 20 years old, and Audrey was older as well, and it was after everything that happened. But I'll leave it. I'm not hating on blonde people. I just think it's weird when two blonde people date, Don't do that. That's gross. He deliberately mentioned that it was nearly at the demigod level. I'm well aware that they're both literal children. I'm just going to continue reading. Not to flaunt the fact to him, but to warn little son that this was a very dangerous monster. However, Alger and Catley didn't pay attention to this point. As a representative of Mr. Fool's Blessed, it was very understandable that the world to purchase demigod-level material on behalf of the peers, besides, even if he was preparing it for himself. It wasn't anything astonishing. Garum Sparrow had already a Sequence 5. It was very common for one to gather ingredients ahead of time. Without realizing it, they felt that the world's advancement from Sequence 5 was seemingly a good thing. Derek thought and said, it's not among commonly seen monsters, but perhaps someone might have encountered it before. I will search through the books or help you ask. The world tersely answered and fell silent. After Forbes made a request to buy an ancient race, cursed artifact, and remnant spirituality to no avail, the transaction came to an end. Before Hangman could ask the son, Forrest stole a glance at the world and said, I recently had a strange dream. In it was an almost genuine treasure trove, including, she described in detail the scene that she had seen towards the end and said that why can't I read? That is the complicated symbol formed from fate and concealment. Four is just about to look towards Mr. Fool to request permission to conjure it when she heard that Mr. World say, are you talking about this symbol? The World first made a request before conjuring this symbol. The badge was only the size of an eyeball. On the surface there was a symbol that symbolized fate and concealment. It came from Lenivus, and it was a proof of administration from the Hermit of Fate gathering. However, Klein shut up. Klein had never made an attempt to participate in it before. Forrest glanced, and she seemed to reply, yes, that's it. After she answered it, she realized that Mr. World hadn't only produced the symbol, but he also produced an item. Suddenly, she came to the realization Dwayne Dantes had chosen Boakland Street for a reason. Just as she had thought, she had seen the world say that with a hoarse voice, the treasure is a trap. Does he know? Thankfully, I was wise to seek the advice of the experience. Forrest heaved a sigh of relief as she smiled. Thank you for your reminder. Audrey asked out of curiosity, Mr. World, what does the symbol represent? Why do you call it a trap? Klein contorted the world and answered smugly, there's a bunch of thieves that call themselves Hermits of Fate. Hermits of Fate, thieves. Alger and Catley thought as they memorized the two names. Based on the former suspected that the organization established by a bunch of marauders. The latter believed that the ancient family from the Fourth Epoch was involved after some careful recalling. Emlyn White confirmed that he had never heard of such an organization, and he planned on leaving more from the upper echelon of the Sanguine. As for Klein,